Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Backyard Birds. Tonight, we're talking about kind of the start of winter. I know by date, it's still a month away, but meteorologically speaking, it is winter. And for birds, it is winter. Expecting our first snow here in Kansas City tomorrow. I think 2 to 4, maybe 6 inches are coming in. So a lot of people in the store this weekend preparing for that and asking me, what can I do to help my birds survive these really bad stretches, and how do I attract them to the yard? People are buying new feeder setups because they know the weather's going to get harsh, and so I thought I would cover that because it's always a topic, and we definitely want to help our birds. And it's not as simple as just buying a cheap bag of bird seed and throwing it out for them. While that can help, and it can help certain birds, but for the most of us, we want to attract our favorite birds, and we want to take care of them. We want to provide them with the things that they need to get by in these harsh stretches. So, me, when I talk about bird seed, I always talk about high nutritional value. And this is a chart I've done, and it's going to be available for digital download. And we're hopefully going to get that up within the next couple of days. But this is an introduction to it for you guys that are regulars. And it includes the key ingredients you want to look for in a quality bag of bird seed. Why quality bag of bird seed? Why these ingredients? Because these ingredients are high in oil, high in fat, high in protein, and that is what birds need to convert to body heat, to help them to get through these really cold times, these cold winter nights. It converts to energy very, very fast, where a lot of these other ingredients, especially the ones on the bottom to avoid, are grains. And grains are lower in nutritional value. And while you can throw some out if you want to, you really need to make sure you're providing high quality ingredients for your birds to help them survive. I've got the middle section I have here are the limited use ones I consider the millet to be thrown on the ground for the juncos and the ground feeding birds, in shell peanuts for the blue jays, and they will take those off. And then Niger, to me, a Niger is only to use if you have squirrel issues. I much rather you feed fine sunflower kernels instead of Niger. Of course, if you got horrendous squirrel problems, I'm sorry, but the Niger, they don't like Niger, so that's an option. And you guys up in the Northeast that get red poles and a lot of siskins, they do eat Niger, but a lot of the finches in our part of the world heavily prefer the fine sunflower chips, and they're higher in oil, higher in fat. So when you're trying to attract a good diversity of birds, this is a feeder loaded with sunflower kernels. These are mediums in here, and you see there's a bluebird. And bluebirds are for the most part insect-eating birds, but they can eat hull-less seed. They can't crack open a seed hull, but they can open it. So sunflower chips, we kind of as a joke, call them boneless, skinless chicken. But then there's no hulls, there's no waste. It's very clean feeding. And a lot of birds, even some that may surprise you, like Carolina wrens and the eastern bluebirds, will eat those sunflower kernels, but everything eats them. The chickadees, the titmice, the cardinals, you name it, all the woodpeckers. Another one that's super high in oil, super high in fat, and very important this time of year are peanuts. Peanuts convert energy to body heat very quickly, and they are favored by a lot of the tree clinging birds. Yes, peanuts are more expensive. That's why I show it. And this is the way I feed my peanuts. I feed them in a mesh feeder that the birds can peck it out and then pull out the small pieces rather than grabbing whole peanuts and fly away with them. That can be very expensive if that's how you feed. But bless you if you do, because the peanuts are very, very important, very high value foods. Now, and then of course, a lot of people ask me about suet. Suet is basically the nutritional substitute for insects for a lot of birds in winter. And so it does. It's very high in fat, basically what it is. So it is good for birds. Some people don't like to feed it because it's messy, but there's a lot of different ways to provide suet. Some people make their own formula, their homemade suet, and feed that. I've never done that, but people do that. And if you do that, great. Lard, peanut butter ingredients. But The suet is the internal body cavity of fat of a cow around the kidneys in that part of the cow, and it's very clean and doesn't have meat trimmings and things like that on it. Well, of course, you buy it in commercial suet cakes like the one up there on the left. But what you're looking for there, when you're looking for a quality seed cake, I've got whole videos on that. Is you're looking for seed cakes that are suet, and then maybe peanuts and tree nuts, things like that in it, maybe mealworms in it. But you don't want one that's got a cake that's got a cheap bag of birdseed dumped in it. You're cheating yourself, you're cheating your birds. So higher quality suets. And then there's spreads. The one that we carry is called tree icing, and that's in the bottom left there. And that's just smearing that into the bark of a tree. And of course, that's great for woodpeckers because they're usually feeding along the tree and they find that very easy. But birds like brown creepers, golden crown kinglets, ruby crown kinglets, birds that you're not going to really see at your bird feeders very much, can find it in this tree spread type situation. And up in the upper right is a pine warbler coming to some tree spread that is on a plank type feeder, and they'll peck off that. And again, they're insect eating birds. The tail prop feeder on the bottom right with the flicker on it, that remember, woodpeckers use their tail as a kickstand. So their feet are attached to the wire cage where the suet is, but that tail prop on the bottom gives them 3 points of articulation so they can hammer that suet and get in pieces they want and pull it out of there. So that's a tail prop suet feeder, which is our best selling type that we have in the store. So suet, always important in the winter months, and also mealworms. I've mentioned that already. Mealworms, especially for bluebirds, they love the mealworms. Other birds too. Robins eat them. Yeah, starlings will eat them if they find them and get into them. But the mealworms are very high value, and birds absolutely love it. I've had some people say that their birds don't eat mealworms. I have no idea. I have never had my mealworms not be accepted by my birds. I mean, they love them. And as a matter of fact, I run out of them. I fill them in the morning, and of course, during the day they get gone pretty darn quickly. So especially in cold stretches, mealworms, and these are dried mealworms. Live mealworms are great. They're even better for them, but in really cold days, they'll freeze very quickly out there if you put them out. The live ones, most people feed during the nesting season, and whenever the bluebirds have babies and the chickadees have babies and titmice have babies. All of those will take advantage of mealworms, so that's highly preferred. And if you're for a regular visitor, I've got to talk about unfrozen water. Providing unfrozen water is critical. All birds have to have it. I always tell you that more birds will die of dehydration than starvation in harsh winters. So providing an unfrozen source of water. This is a heated bird bath on my deck. There's bluebirds on the left up there on the top, a mourning dove, a house finch, and a flock of cedar waxwings that landed in the bird bath one day. I caught it on my blink camera. So birds that you, again, typically don't have at your feeders, all birds have to have water. And yes, you say, I might live near a lake or might near, well, lakes, bodies of water freeze from the shore out, and it gets very dangerous for birds to try to get water from way out in the open like that. Plus, it'll be very deep. So shallow bird baths and with thermostats, they keep the temperature constant, and they go on and off at usually 36, 38 degrees so that they're not running on warm days. So great investment. And then not seed, but another important thing you provide for them are places to roost at night. Your bluebird boxes that you've had up. My bluebirds are going in and out of my bluebird box right now. I bet you they're roosting in there tonight. And then these little roosting pockets, you can stick this up under your deck in little crevices or hang them on fences and in your landscaping, and especially chickadees. Chickadees love them. Titmice love them. Carolina wrens love them. And it helps them get out of the elements at night. So that's just a really good thing to provide in winter for birds. And then just to finish up with good quality bird seed. This is my Bluebirds and Friends mix, and it has a little bit of everything I've talked about. It's got the sunflower hearts, it's got the peanuts, it's got little suet nuggets, it's got mealworms, dried mealworms in it, little peanut hearts, sunflower hearts. It's very, very high quality and very well received by the birds. So if you help your birds out and provide them the food they need to get through these really harsh stretches, you're doing them a favor. You're doing yourself a favor, because face it, we feed birds because we love to see them and we love to get them up close, and it makes us feel good to help them, and we should be providing with things that truly do help them and not junk fillers and I'm sorry, cheap blends that just have grains in it to make weight and maybe a handful of sunflower in it. But remember that it's the simplest seed and best you could ever feed. If you want to keep it simple, it's just straight black oil. But all of these sunflower kernels and peanuts, those are all great. And that little chart, we'll have it for a digital download. Hopefully I have it in the description here when this comes out, so you can download and look at it over and see what you think of it. So it's a great idea for a program. Very timely right now. Like I said, we're expecting snow starting at 7 in the morning, I hear. So be ready for it. If you like the program, please give us a like, give us a share. If you're on YouTube, subscribe button, and don't forget to click the bell so you'll know when I'm on next. Send in ideas for future programs. Until next time, let's talk birds.